Hi, this is Natalie Lander, voice of Kinsey, Tara Branford, Stargirl, and many others. You are listening to a W2Mnet podcast. You can visit W2Mnet.com for other podcasts about entertainment, video games, sports, and wrestling. You are listening to Video Games to the Max.
Hello and welcome to another edition of Video Games to the Max. And this is episode 260, and of course we are the official podcast of W2Mnet.com, and of course also in partnership with Last Word on Gaming. And this week I have not written anything over there. I meant to and just have not had the time. Had some weird personal stuff happen, but thankfully I am here. I am your host, Sean Garmer, here with me. Even better that he is here, Mr. Marc Morrison.
Howdy.
I did try to get Randy on again, as he has now finished the medium, to talk about it, but he has to work at like 5 a.m., so totally understand why not. He said he was off next week, so we'll see. That's what sucks sometimes about recording on a Friday. Some people do have to work on Saturdays.
Right.
So, yeah. Anything going on with you?
Playing a few games. That's about it. How about you?
Well, I went on I had some stuff happen, and I wound up taking Wednesday off just to, clear my mind. I hadn't taken a day off when I wasn't supposed to in, I don't know how long.
Yeah.
So I went with the girlfriend because her dad, has a flip phone. And some of his other friends have been getting, smartphones. So we went into T-Mobile, and they have Metro, and they had, I think it's called the OneNote Plus.
Yeah.
What? Yeah.
That's actually a good phone.
No, they look like really good phones. So they both got one because that was the only phone that they had that was, of recent release. That was free where you didn't have to pay for the phone itself. So they got that, and then I paid for hers, he paid for his, and they were like, well, why don't, you can get a third line free, and I've been wanting to get off the line with my aunt and mom for ever, just because, I don't know, my aunt is just one of those people that you don't even, sometimes she rubs you the wrong way, and she keeps changing the date that bill is due, and I'm just getting really pissed. It's like it used to be due on the 11th, now it's due on the 1st, and then it's due on the 5th. I'm like, okay, enough of that. So, I paid a little bit more I have a free line, and I got the Galaxy S21. So, I've been fiddling with that, and they gave us a free tablet, the Galaxy Tablet A, I think it is.
That's what I have, yeah.
Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah,
I can actually go ahead.
You have the small or the big one?
I have the 8-inch one.
Okay, yeah, I had the 10-inch one, but they're the same thing.
It was free. I'm not gonna.
Yeah.
So I just paid $20 to have the lot. Which, if I don't ever see myself using it, I'm just gonna cut it off. For now, I did it. But I think I'm going to wind up cutting it off because I don't know how many places I'm going to take it where I don't need Wi-Fi. So, because they make you pay $20 a month for having a data line where you could technically go outside and use it, like your phone. So, I like it because I can actually Bluetooth my PS4 controller to it, and I can actually do remote play, with both the 360, the Xbox One controller and that. And so I played, East 9, some while I was working today, on it, just to test it out, and it runs pretty good. It looks pretty good.
Yeah.
I thought it looked better than it does when it plays on my, PC. So, that's something. And, yeah, I don't know, you probably used it more than I have, so.
My tablet? Somewhat. I pretty much use it for, GPS and, video playback. I don't really care about gaming on it.
Well, I don't so I have to work in a separate room from where the consoles are. So
Move the console.
no, I don't want to keep moving the console constantly. So especially when they have to be behind the TVs because they're both so big. So I'd rather not do that. But yeah, no, it's fine. Especially when I'm still playing technically a PS4 game. So
Yeah.
it's not.
Well, it's an RPG also. It's not like something that demands, good controls. or
Well,
good
yeah,
timing.
I mean, you do in this game because it's very much like, God, what game was I thinking of that I could compare it to? Obviously, Kingdom Hearts, is one that you could make the case for because it's hacky slashy but it's also super platformy because it wants you to, it gives you abilities like you can fly and you can fly. I thought it had better flight controls than Phoenix Rising. You can fly, you can climb up walls, all that stuff, and they want you to do that around the city to find treasure chests and all that stuff. So, you're constantly, if you want to do all that stuff, which they really do, they don't overload, but there are icons, quite a lot on the map that they want you to go find if you want to do that. And if you're one of those people that gets, wants to, that's the thing that bothers me, is I'm supposed to be reviewing this game, I need to kind of mainline it, but damn, you see all these icons and I'm like, okay, let me go get this treasure chest over here. Let me go get it. And then,
welcome to Assassin's Creed.
And then it's also sort of like Xenoblade as well, where it doesn't always give you a direct path to where that is. Right, you can click on it and then there'll be these little arrows that show up that kind of give you an idea.
Yeah.
But then depending on, the map is kind of vague, depending on whether it's on the top part of something or on the bottom by where the river is or whatever. So sometimes you'll climb up a house that it's on the roof. And then sometimes you'll climb up on the roof and then you have to drop down and it's behind this building and it really is,
I don't know.
Weird, yeah.
I don't know about that Yakuza RPG, but some of the old Yakuza games were like that too, where you just have to wander around and hopefully stumble upon the next trigger sequence, trigger event that makes the story go forward, but sometimes
thankfully they do tell you with a very big red triangle or very big green triangle, if there's the main quest or the side quest. The thing is, some of the side quests are also main quests for certain chapters.
Yeah.
So, I don't want to spoil the reason why, but so this game actually has 3 different stories going on at the same time. And if you haven't played 8, which I didn't, there is some throwbacks to East 8. So people that are big fans of the series that are, maybe listening to this, you'll definitely get rewarded because they do throwbacks to that, but they will. There's the whole thing with the monstrums, which I'm not going to explain necessarily for people that haven't played the game yet, because it just came out a few days ago, there's that storyline with all those characters that are involved, and you get a bunch of different party members, and then there's the story with Adol where he's stuck in a prison, and they actually sort of blend with each other, and some of those side quests have you controlling just basic Adol, and then for a lot of the game you're controlling all these people that have all these powers and stuff, so it's weird to go back and forth like that, and it almost feels like you're playing Indiana Jones or whatever, where you go in these dungeons with basic Adol and they have all these traps everywhere, and then you go in these dungeons with the regular guys that you play with most of the time. And it's just about just destroying monsters and stuff. So it feels weird. And then there's another game on top of that that's tower defense that at times you have to go into this, which is the Grimwald Nox, which is why it's called Monstrum Nox, I guess. You have to go in this other demonic world or whatever and kill all these monsters, defend your tower. And then that shows up every so often that you also have to do. And then lately, to change it up, they've been doing this like crystal destruction that you have to destroy a certain number of crystals before the time runs out. And oh my god, I went, like, the last thing I did before we started was this really annoying one that I just was like, nope, I'm taking a break off that. Cause they have this, so for like most of them, right before you get to this one, you have the option of either collect all the crystals, which is really hard to do because they're very small and trying to find all of them is difficult in a like 5-minute time frame. Or
that's what YouTube is for.
Yeah, or you go through. No, because it's literally like you're going through the whole city trying to find them. Like, even if you do YouTube, you're not going to memorize that. Like, you're going to get...
Oh, yeah, you just watch the video and then keep pausing the game.
I guess. That seems rather, like, annoying after a while. Plus, you got monsters that's getting your way, and the camera can get finicky. Like, the camera can become a problem, just like Kingdom Hearts, where if enemies get you in a certain way, it, like, smashes the camera into your face, and you can't see what the hell's going on. So... like, for most of these, when you get to like 75%, this big boss comes out, and if you kill the boss, it basically makes it to where you can, gather up all the other crystals by killing the boss. This one, apparently you can't kill that boss. And so you, like, really do have to collect all the crystals, and it's like, there's an area around this Colosseum that you have to collect a certain amount, and then when you go inside is where the rest of them are. And oh my god, it's, I had to fail like 3 times and I was like, you know what? And I got so close all 3 times and I was like, you know what? No, I'm not gonna torture myself all night, so forget this. But no, I've really enjoyed that game. If you enjoy hacky slashy games, there's definitely a lot, and they constantly reward you with stuff. Like, there is a reward for everything. There's a reward for collecting these little the how many ever little blue crystals that are around. There's a reward for collecting this many of this and this many of that. So if you're one of those folks that feels like, you know, you worry about whether you spend your money, they definitely make sure that you get your, I guess if your money's worth is based on how much gameplay there is. So you don't have to worry about that. Maybe it's not so great if you're trying, again, like me, where you're trying to figure out how much of this you need to really play to get through it. But I will say, at least for those ones where you're having to play with the other Adol, or even some of the side quests, if you don't want to go through that, you can die, and then at the end it'll say, do you want to complete it like as if you completed the dungeon? And if you press it, it just makes you go to the end of the dungeon, that's nice. Not every game does that, so I appreciate that. I appreciate that you care about our time, Falcom. So, yeah. Well, anything? I mean, I've only been able to play East 9. I meant to play more Medium, and it's just, I'm trying to really stay on track with, doing that review quickly, because we got Mario coming up next week. Randy's gonna do Little Nightmares too, so I don't have to take that one, and then, you know, you guys got Persona pretty soon.
Yep.
So, which I downloaded because I like got onto that kick with the game coming out soon. I downloaded some of the P5R tracks that I never listened to them and put them as my alarm sounds for when I get up in the morning. So that's good. What's going on with you?
I played still trying to beat Skull. You know, once I can beat it like once or twice, I'll review it or start writing the review. 2 games I've been playing. I played Control on PS5. It's fine. It still is like not great performance-wise, which I find kind of interesting.
Well, I heard the Series X one's is even worse at crash. Well, some people it's been crashing their console and it jitters and stuff. I don't know about the PS5.
I think it crashed once, just kind of randomly. But yeah, it's not like a stable game. Like, you know, it does jitter quite a bit. And it has two modes, like performance and graphics. And I'm on the performance mode, and, you know, it mostly plays fine, but there are instances where you, like, turn the camera, and, like, it takes a second to, like, catch up. And I was like, this is kind of an old game. Like, what's going on here?
Well, it did have problems on PS4 and Xbox as well, so.
I mean, it's way better than PS4. Like, PS4, when I would pause the game and unpause it, it would take, like, 2 or 3 seconds to, like, start back up again. And it's like, that's not great. Like, what's going on here?
I had it on PC and it would do the same thing too.
Yeah. The other big game I'm playing is Goldeneye.
Goldeneye?
Yeah.
64?
No, on Xbox 360.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
What made you want to play Goldeneye on 360?
Because it finally leaked out, and I wanted to play that for years. So.
Okay, fair enough. Any,
you don't know the saga, do you? Like, Goldeneye was supposed to come up, but it never did.
Right, it got, like, axed at the last...
Well, yeah, because of, like, licensing from all the different companies trying to, who own a piece of Goldeneye or James Bond. So, like, a week ago, it was, like, they had video footage, or, like, there's some video of a guy, like, ran through the whole game. Like, the full walkthrough of the game, essentially.
Oh, wow.
And then, like, a day later, the whole, like, the ISO leaked, or, like, the Xbox Live Arcade file leaked online. So I grabbed that, and then I grabbed the 360 emulator called Xenia, and that loaded it up, and it works fine. Or it's like not 100% great. I don't know if it's the emulator or the game. I mean, there are like occasional audio bugs, or like has some like weird areas of slowdown here and there, but it runs like it. You can finish it no problem, and it plays just fine.
Oh, that's cool.
There's even a button to like toggle between like the old graphic style and the new one, and I showed it to a friend and she was like, I switched to the old one and she's like, wow, was the game really that dark? And I was like, yeah, it really was because they were trying to hide a lot of shit back then. And yeah, Goldeneye holds up pretty well. Like I much prefer Goldeneye to Perfect Dark. I don't know about you, but
yeah.
I mean, I have a lot more nostalgia with Goldeneye. I thought it had a better story. Because Perfect Dark story is ass, and like all the stupid corporations and stuff. It's like I don't care. So yeah, I played about 4 or 5 levels of that. It runs well. I'm happy to play it. It doesn't have online support yet, but people are trying to hack it back in because it has like local, like system link and then like local co-op or like local play, which is kind of cool. But I mean, it's funny that it's free now. So many people have grabbed it because if it had actually come out, it would have made some money. But not anymore.
Yeah, I wonder if they can ever get that figured out with the licensing to have that come out at some point.
Well, you have to imagine, I mean, this thing was like dated. I mean, this was a 360 game. So this was at least 7 years ago, 8 years ago. I think it was actually supposed to be due out in like 2013. And back then, obviously, like Nintendo and Microsoft had more animosity between the two. Like, not like now. I mean, they aren't buddy, but I mean, I'm sure if a deal could be worked out now, it would have been. Or, it had come out again, or they try to make it again, might be a little more amenable. But not anymore. I mean, yeah, you get a good computer, you should go download it yourself.
I'll see.
The only weird part is, like, the emulator itself is, like, it's pretty automated. Like, I was trying to find, like, key or, like, controller configuration, and then I couldn't find it. Like, my controller worked, but I was like, it'd be nice to like set some of these buttons up, or that's what I normally do. And then Control, and so plowing away at Phoenix Rising, which, yeah, that game if you direct path that game, it would probably take you 5 hours, but because of so much hidden crap or just stuff for you to do, it's gonna take 50.
Well, yeah, but I mean, that's a Ubisoft game.
Yeah.
They want you to find all that hidden stuff.
Yeah.
So.
But, yeah, GoldenEye is a cool one. It's well worth it. I mean, if you don't have a good computer, it's on YouTube, and it's just cool to look at. Because I have a lot of nostalgia for that game. I don't know about you, but...
I agree. I mean, that was one that I had, we played a lot.
Yeah.
With friends.
Right.
Wasn't much of a family game, but my friends who would come over and we'd play the multiplayer. I didn't get very far in the story mode. I'd always die at a certain point.
No. They did add something weird where, like, because that game had, like, an aiming mode where you held down, like, R to, like, get the crosshair up. Mm-hmm. Now you can actually move when you're doing that. Like, you can't move fully, but it has, like, this, like, kind of, like, leap you can do, like, side to side. So you're not just planted on the ground like you used to be. And I say, that's helpful because, cool. Yeah. I mean, that game is also really short. Like, there are people beating it in, like, 2 hours online nowadays. And I guess it's stuck on easy mode, even if you select, like, harder, like, difficulty levels. Yeah. But it's out there, and it will stay out there forever now.
Well, that's awesome. People that wanted to play GoldenEye or just watch someone play GoldenEye.
Yep.
So, Any other actual playing game related?
Not really. I returned some kids. I was at a store recently, and he left a Game Boy Advance SP on the table or on the counter, so I returned it to him.
Oh, look at Mark being.
Well, that thing was is actually kind of worth money nowadays.
Yeah, because they don't, it's not easy to find anymore.
Yeah, and it was a good model too. And I picked it up, and the clerk asked me, "Is this yours?" I'm like, "No." The kid just walked out. I just ran after him real quick.
I'm surprised the clerk didn't be like, "Hey, don't grab that." Look.
Yeah. That's about it for me.
Yep, I only played that one game that I already talked about. Are you caught up on WandaVision?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll talk about that at the end, so people can
avoid spoilers.
Spoilers, yeah. So since this is the basically hot off the presses when this show comes out, I'm not gonna talk about we're not gonna talk about the actual minutia of the Endwalker expansion being announced, because we don't play that game, and it'd be dumb for us to, Final Fantasy XIV.
Yeah.
For us to go through that. There's one class that hasn't been revealed yet. It's going to be revealed at the at the Winterfest later.
That'll be Break Dancer.
That'd be nice. That'd be cool.
It's going in the Yakuza 7 route.
So the one that was announced was Sage, which is a healer class. You do have to have a level 70 character in order to be able to play as a Sage. Does WoW do something like that, where you have to? Yeah,
there are some character classes where you have to be a certain level, or do a bunch of quests to unlock a character class, or a race, essentially.
So why do they do that?
To make you grind more.
Okay.
Or to some character classes are more complex than others, so they probably want you to have a good sense of the game in order for you to play a new class.
Yeah, that way you're not
stumbling into something
noob when you're having to play with other people. And
also, I don't know about this one, but it's in WoW, I think one of the classes, I think it was Death Knight, it started off 58 out of the level cap was 70 or 80. So it wasn't starting off at level 1, starting off already pretty advanced.
Okay, that makes sense then.
Yeah.
Yeah. The big announcement, obviously, aside from that, and that they're having this expansion, and that it's also ending, apparently, some important story parts, is that the PS5 version is finally going to be released. They will go into an open beta on April 13th, and it will have 4K support, obviously the fast load times, improved frame rate. So it already there's already Final Fantasy XIV that you can play right now, and backwards compatibility mode, obviously. But this one is going to be full on for the system.
Yeah.
So, I might check out that open beta just to see. And I've heard that apparently, the first part of the game is not the best, because you're still playing the original, Final Fantasy XIV. It's just the Realm Reborn.
I think they sped it up quite a bit.
Yeah.
And made it a lot easier. Just get to the good stuff.
Yeah, that's what I've heard as well, but it's still kind of it's tedious, apparently.
I mean, hey, that's an MMO for you. That's just WoW.
But apparently once you get to the next expansion, the Heaven's Word, it gets really good. So you gotta get through all that stuff, and obviously have the time to play an MMO.
There's probably some character booster pack or something that just gets you to that automatically.
Well, yeah, I'm sure there is. But you're also, I guess you could YouTube the story or whatever, if you wanted to.
Story never matters in an MMO.
Well, Final Fantasy, it kind of does, though. Apparently it's really good. Some of the best. There's people that have said that, aside from the music, which is really good, that there are, what was the last one? Shadowborn, or?
Don't ask me.
Whatever. The last one that they released, some people were saying that's some of the best Final Fantasy story content, period, of all the, games.
I just hope the Moogle King comes back.
Would be nice. Anima from Final Fantasy X is also going to make an appearance here, so if you don't remember who Anima is, he's the, zombie-looking summon.
Oh, yeah.
That Seymour controls until he doesn't control him. and you do.
Yeah.
So, which is cool. I really liked using anime. He was awesome when you're, of that age, and that's like awesome to see. So that basically like at midnight, because, Japan is way ahead of us. Here they were announcing all this stuff, so that was cool to be seeing as I was getting off work, and a lot of people very, very excited that was happening. And there's also a Harvest Moon Stardew Valley mode that got added as well, that you have like your own house and you get to raise animals and all that stuff. So saw people still complaining that WoW does not have stuff like that.
Well, WoW has a garrison. I mean, that's what that was initially, but like WoW systems are never going to be able to do that, I don't think.
They would have to update the...
Well, it's just like a design philosophy. I mean, that's literally what the garrison was. Like, you had like a plot of land, and then you have like your command, like your basically like mayor house, and then you had like a shipyard and auction house and all this other crap. But like, it wasn't like a public space. It was like an instance area for your character, and that's about it. Like, I don't think WoW has like a social space like that, really, or never will.
We'll see. Apparently there are people that want that, but
yeah,
who knows if it will.
Yep, I doubt it.
So, getting on to
actual
other
games.
News, there wasn't a Final Fantasy 14. Embracer Group once again makes another purchase. This time it's a pretty big one, and now that they own Gearbox Software, which of course they're the ones that make Borderlands.
Yeah.
Does Randy Pritchford go with them? I don't know. I'd hope not, but.
No, he said he is. That was my question, and it's like, damn it, that was their one chance to get rid of him, and they didn't do it. Or I'm sure he is contractually obligated to stay with them, or he wrote in some clause like, I want to be the boss for 3 more years or something, and the day that his contract ends is the day he gets the big boot.
Yeah, with a pretty nice package of separate packages there. And they also were able to acquire Astro Media and a mobile game developer, Easy Brain. Good lord, Embracer Group.
Yeah.
They just keep buying stuff. Apparently the purchase of Gearbox Software and Publishing is worth $1.37 billion. Thank God. Okay. Go ahead. Sorry.
I think I read some comment about how, like, there's not a ton of, like, B-tier developers anymore in, like, the USA. And how, like, Gearbox is, like, one of the last of those, and now they're gone, essentially. Or their own, like, there's no independent B-tier studios anymore, let's say that.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, it's actually kind of right. Like,
yeah, I mean, if you really think about it, a lot of the other studios you either got, like, indie, or they're inside somebody else's.
Yeah, they're owned by 4 of the 5, big companies out there like EA, Activision, Nintendo, Sony, Microsoft, or Embracer.
Yeah, it's crazy. How much more is there left for Embracer to go purchase?
Once they buy Ubisoft or Square, then it'll be game over.
If that would just be weird. If that ever came to pass. I mean, so.
I don't think they bought Borderlands, though, because I think THQ publishes that. And there was some line about how, like, they're going to continue making...
Take-Two is the one that publishes.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know that they would... I mean, Embracer would then get I don't know if they would have to appear if there's a Borderlands 4, right? Because now Gearbox is part of Embracer Group, so if Gearbox remains the developer of a future Borderlands title, then yeah. But they don't get to just have the Borderlands IP. Yeah. I don't think. So, we'll see how that relationship goes after this. Would Take-Two work with them?
I'm sure. Why not? Like, Take-Two, like, isn't like the biggest developer out there. Like, I mean, they are large, and they obviously, Rockstar makes money for them, but like, outside of Rockstar and basketball, like, what else do they got?
Yeah. It goes really, really low after that.
Yeah.
You could have said WWE at one point, but then
that worked out
well. It went down the tubes really fast. So
yeah. Well, I mean, at least they made some. Oh, Sorry, you meant I was thinking THQ. Yeah, the Take-Two stuff has not been great.
Yeah, the Take-Two, since they've had it, it has not really been anything to write home about at all. It's been awful, actually.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, look, this is cool for, it's neat that, like, every time you think a Embracer Group might be done, they just keep outdoing themselves. So, it wouldn't be that out of the question if they were to, like, make some, I wonder if Ubisoft just had to fight off Tencent. I wonder if Tencent somehow tried to come back in if they try to get Embracer Group to buy them instead or something like that.
I look forward to the $400 collector's edition of Borderlands 4 coming out 3 years from now with 4 or 5 dumb statues.
Let's not. But wouldn't surprise me. Like you said last time, I mean, there's a collector's edition of Biomutant, so
yeah,
all bets are off on that. Speaking of something collectors would want, is a Mass Effect Legendary Edition finally got a release date of May 14th. It is going to be available on the Xbox, PlayStation consoles, and PC. And yeah, so it's apparently it looks really good. Like, I watched a lot of the trailer. There's people that pointed to a leak that said they just ran it through an AI. Yeah,
some AI algorithm to up-res everything. Parts of it look different also, so it's not just...
Yeah.
They just didn't have the AI filter completely on.
Yeah, it's gonna have 4K and HDR support, and remastered character models. They changed the voice of one of the characters I saw, I think.
No, I didn't see that, but okay. I know, like, one guy died, so...
Well, like, whoever does Miranda, I think.
Really? Wow. She's she's like one of the main characters in Mass Effect 2.
They changed her voice actress.
Okay.
There's a lot of people complaining that she was annoying.
Really?
Yeah.
I actually liked her quite a bit, so that's really surprising to me. I know they changed, like, for her, they changed, like...
Or was it the character model? I don't...
No, well, no. Yeah, you're wrong. They changed, like, there were some gratuitous ass shots of her in the game, and I think they got rid of those. But they'll have, like, alternate shots, and it's like, why? That's what she's known for. Like,
well, that's what they were talking about today, was the whole, there's gonna be a lot less ass shots in Mass Effect.
Yeah, the game's coming to PC also, and it's nice they're finally adding in, controller support.
Yeah.
Because
you'd think they would have added that before.
That was right around the time, like, when controller support was, like, getting added. Like, it was, like, still around, but it wasn't as important as it is now. And at least, like, 2 and 3 had some, like, really weird, like, engine problems with controller support. So they were like, yeah, it's too complicated for us to do.
Well, I mean, that's the part. And then, like, wasn't Mass Effect the first one, like, not on PlayStation for a long time?
Because Microsoft co-published it, or I think they did publish it actually. So yeah, when they released like Mass Effect 2 and 3 on PS3, they had like some digital comic, and it was like, oh, these are the 4 or 5 important decisions from Mass Effect 1. What would you have chosen? And that was it.
Oh, really? Well, okay.
Yeah. It was like, oh, did you side with Caden or did you pick Ashley? It's like, alright, I guess. Like, this is one game I'll definitely try to get, because I really like all the Mass Effects.
Well, that will be cool. There's a ton of people that are excited about this. So the Gamer did a whole Mass Effect week of articles and everything. Like, this was a huge deal this week when they finally announced this thing. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe this will be the time that I finally get through and play Mass Effect. I've always said I played through like parts of 1 and then I fell off it and then didn't ever go back to it. And
1 is pretty hard to get into. Like, just like back in the day, like it had some really weird systems. So they said they're going to iron a lot of those out, which is probably a good thing.
Let's hope so. But I always just wanted to start the story from the beginning, so.
Right.
That's why I would go with 1, even though people were like, "Oh, you could start at 2," but I was like, "This feels weird."
No, yeah. I mean, if that was the case, 2 wouldn't say, "Hey, load up your Mass Effect 1 save." Like, it obviously wants you to play the first one first.
Yeah, even though it's different, right, from the other 2.
I mean, it was, but like they said in this, like the articles and the updates, like this Mass Effect 1's going to be a lot more like the other 2 games. So
okay, well, that's good.
Yeah.
That way, people can, when they're playing 1, then you're getting ready for
like
2 and 3.
Like 1 doesn't have ammo. Like it has it just doesn't have ammo and guns. Like it regenerates kind of on its own. So like that'll be changed obviously. Or the goddamn Jeep in the game will be hopefully less terrible.
There's that.
Yeah.
Well, something that I wouldn't say was surprising. Google Stadia Google closed Stadia's internal development teams. That basically, the big deal that they made of bringing in Jade Raymond, and, she of course helped build Assassin's Creed over at Ubisoft, and then moved over to EA Motive, and then she was announced as one of the big major players that was going to help Stadia and have this great exclusive game. And then you don't hear anything for a long while, and then nothing. And then
I think Stadia has only had one exclusive game, and like that was like a launch game.
Yeah, well, and they made some. Yeah, I mean, game development's hard, and for them to basically announce that day that they had a studio and they were working on a game, and then and then they had this was affecting 150 people.
Yeah, like I had a friend there, and I think he's probably gone because he was heading up some studio relations with Google. Yeah, no, duh. I hate to be the naysayer, but of course this thing crashed and burned. Like, they didn't have even enough time to make a game from their studio.
Yeah, I mean, this doesn't mean that Stadia is done, right? It just means that they're not gonna...
It kind of means Stadia is done, let's be honest here.
I don't necessarily think so. You don't have to create your own game. I mean, look, until recently, Valve hasn't really done anything. You don't have to create your own games to keep using the technology. Valve
started as a game developer. They made games first, and then they came out with the service. Google was we're going to make the service first, and then eventually the games will come out. But there's no real reason to get the service. So, of course, they're not, they're going to wait around for the games to come out.
Well, okay, so if you're looking at it from a perspective of, there are people that apparently do like Stadia, and there are people that don't, they like the fact that you can just stream and you don't have to have a console, and
I think Cyberpunk worked well on Stadia.
It did,
to, most other things.
No, I mean, that was, other than PC, that was the best thing that it worked on was Stadia. So, I mean, there's that. I think that's the thing is, what I don't want to get into is, it doesn't have a service really like Game Pass. So, I mean, It has that Stadia Pro, which is essentially so you can play the game, things in 4K. And then there are some games that get included, but it's not everything. It's certain games. So,
right. And it's also why would you want to pay $60 for the Stadia version of Mortal Kombat or, Assassin's Creed when you could buy any other version for more or for the same price and have it be a better general experience?
Well, not just that. I mean, it may be a better experience on Stadia compared to others. We don't know. I'm just saying, my thing with buying a game on Stadia is if they were that quick to shutter their internal studios, how quick will Google pull the hammer on, we're wasting money here. How many people, we're wasting money here. Why don't we just sell off the technology and, these people bought their games. Who cares? They're not paying for the upkeep, so forget it. And maybe they make a deal, I don't know, where you get your game on something else free, or I don't know. But
it's just on live all over again.
Yeah, that's why I wouldn't want. I've thought about it. Same thing with Luna or whatever, just to test it out. In fact, I've gotten codes for Luna, and I keep forgetting to activate them actually. But it's just, I don't want to buy a game on Stadia, and then you don't know if that game will disappear. at some point. If they were this quick to pull their internal studios, how quick would Google, if they keep not really doing much with this, just pull the whole thing?
Yeah.
You know? And Microsoft winds up being, cause I mean, Amazon also has not had a great, tracker with making their own games.
I think it was Kotaku. They had some dumbass article about when Jeff Bezos leaving Amazon. They were they were saying, they were blaming it on Amazon's Crucible game, like how it failed. Like, oh, Jeff Bezos is leaving because Crucible bombed. And I'm like, you guys are crazy if you actually think that. Like,
I mean, he's been with them since the beginning. I mean, every founder usually ends up going to some executive position at some point.
It's like, that's the most like clickbaity headline article of all time. Like, do you think he honestly even knew what Crucible was? Like, no,
well, I'm sure he knew what of it, right?
Yeah.
But like, was he really impassioned behind it? No, probably not.
Yeah, he's not like he's not going to the office every day saying, hey, let's get Crucible up and running. It's like, he put up the money and that was it.
Yeah, it's probably like one of those things he gets told about and then like, okay, that's one of those things we're doing, whatever.
Yeah.
That guy has so many things going on, right, constantly that, I mean, yeah, it doesn't make, like, of course that guy after almost 30 years of running the day-to-day is gonna wanna, like, be happy with his money and just take an executive position where he doesn't have to be in it all the time. I mean, of course he does. Like, that has nothing to do with Crucible or whatever. It's like,
yeah, this is the exact headline. Bezos out as Amazon CEO less than a year after launching terrible game. It's like, no.
That was just them having to somehow relate it to games so they could talk about it.
But it's like the most asinine thing you can think of. It's like, no, you jackasses. Like,
it's like, oh, we just really wanted to talk about how bad Crucible was, so we're just bringing this in to make it relevant, which, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
That's sometimes you gotta do dumb stuff like that, even if you don't, really want to. Listen, I don't want to hate on people that enjoy Stadia. Like, again, the technology is good. But I still think this is why Amazon is eventually going to get out of that game and Microsoft will be the only one because they have other things to protect themselves. And they don't just use the Azure technology they have the Azure thing for xCloud. They have a console. They have the connection with PC. Like, and they're also a company that's, the company will be fine, right? But the Xbox division is doing fine for what it is, and they can expand because if for some reason people don't gravitate to streaming on the TV, like whenever they finally get xCloud on, or Game Pass on the TV apps, if people aren't flocking to that and it's not increasing Game Pass subscriptions like they think it would, and I think it will, because that makes it where you don't have to buy a console anymore. You can just open that app, pay your $15 and play most of the games you'd be buying on that console anyway. So,
yeah, the counter is like, I think one thing I like is like like the PS5 games, like PS Plus, like you add those games to your account and they are yours forever. Like every month.
Well, not forever, as long as you're subscribed to PS Plus.
I mean, yeah, but they're not gonna, once you add a game to your account, they don't take it away, but with every month, games are added to, Microsoft game subscription or Game Pass, but then games are also gone as well, or deleted. Like, that sucks. Like, if you're playing that game especially, like, it's like, well, I guess go buy that thing now.
Like, every time they announce,
it's like
every
Netflix,
time they announce new games, they have to announce games that are leaving. I mean, it's
like Netflix or Amazon Prime do the same thing. But, I mean, that's why you get a lot more games with Game Pass, obviously, but I still prefer PS Plus because you own those games until you're not a PS Plus member anymore.
Well, I mean, Games for Gold is the same thing where, the 360 ones actually are yours regardless.
Those all suck nowadays, so.
Yeah, no, I agree. Most of them are not something that.
Am I going to play Control on PS5 or one of the bad Indiana Jones games for the original Xbox. Huh. Tough choice here.
Yeah. And, I mean, like, okay, so they just announced Project Winter and the Falconeer, which are both out right now. I need to check out Project Winter. Falconeer is pretty good if you like those kinds of flying games. Final Fantasy XII is finally coming after they promised that, like, when the other Final Fantasies were coming. And then Jurassic World Evolution, which I know you played a little bit.
Yeah.
And Stealthing 2, those are the ones that are coming in the week after. And then they announced that leaving is the Blob, Ninja Gaiden 2, and Shadows of the Damned is leaving EA Play.
And I mean, I'm not that big on Ninja Gaiden 2, but like the Blob and Shadows of the Damned are really good.
Great. Yeah.
So yeah, it's like that's kind of a bummer. Like, but again, there's so many games in that thing that you're not going to really care, or most people wouldn't care.
Yeah, I mean that's the only thing I would say is what does suck is if you're just coming into Game Pass when you get your console and you realize that there's this game on there that you really wanted to play, and then it could be the one that leaves a week after. But you do get a discount for, playing the game. You do get a discount for buying the game.
Right.
Once it's on Game Pass. So there's that. I mean, you also should still buy games regardless of whether you have Game Pass or not, because that obviously helps, the publisher and the developer. But, yeah, I agree with you, but I still think that Amazon might be there, but I don't think they're going to last too much longer in doing this. And
the new CEO of Amazon is like the cloud computing guy. So if anything, they're probably going to go deeper into it.
Maybe then. But I mean, I don't know. It just like that's the thing that just shows you right there why when Stadia was announced, people had this thing with Google drops stuff if it doesn't succeed immediately, and lo and behold, here you go.
Yeah, not even 2 years later.
I mean, you can still have it as a service, right? And you can still have it as a thing that if you don't have a console where it's a second console for you or whatever, if you want to buy games on it, cool. But at any moment, they could just decide, all right, we're just not even going to support Stadia anymore. And then you're out everything. So
I mean, other companies have shipped on services and they tried to transfer over ownership of like video files or MP3s or stuff like that. Look at when Microsoft just phased out Beam or what was it? What was their Twitch thing?
Oh, Amazon's Twitch thing?
No, Mixer. That was it.
Yeah, Mixer.
They pretty much transferred everything over to like Facebook because they can try it, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, why not?
I mean, I doubt if Stadia ever shuts down completely, I doubt they're going to go like, all right, you own these 4 games on Stadia. Here are Steam codes for all 4 games. Go activate them on there. But I'm sure they might try to like have some like relationship with like either Epic or Steam to go, oh, you own these 4 games. Here you can buy them on, Epic for 75% off or something like that for a week or 2.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, let's hope that it doesn't get to that point,
Yeah.
But just saying, people need to realize that this could very well be what happens.
Yeah, and the greater point is like they should have known better.
It's a very long game that you're going against major players, and they are not slowing down. And then also, it's like, especially in so many parts around the world, streaming is just not up to par.
Right.
For that.
Even in like America, I mean, we don't have we claim we have great internet infrastructure, but we really don't in a lot of the country. But like, even in like vast areas, it's not like perfect.
Yeah. I mean, like, and it's also just, they're still waiting on, is 5G going to eventually do something? Is fiber going to eventually, like, how long are you going to wait for that?
Right.
And if you're Google, like, can you wait that long? And they kind of can't. Like, now they're trying to do this, like, Google Duo thing, and I don't know if that's going to last very long or not. But.
Yeah. Like, before, like, to your earlier point about Valve and, like, Steam, like, they released, like, Half-Life before Steam, or Counter-Strike before Steam, so they were an already established, game making studio before they released their, platform.
Yeah,
that helps.
Exactly. That's the same thing with Microsoft. Why they can do it, because they have an established brand with established games that can help sell that stuff, right? And they were the top console for January in Europe now. I mean, part of that is also because apparently you can't find PS5s there, but and that's even without Halo. And I mean, you have Gears Tactics and Gears getting nicer looking, which God of War got that as well,
right?
For the PlayStation. So, and that's a PlayStation Collection game, so that's cool. If that's already just getting updated by itself. Problem is, I don't know how many games you can really have connected to your to your PS5 because it doesn't have a lot of storage. So
those games won't get deleted, so it helps.
That's true. The positive thing too is if you have decent internet, it really is not a big deal to just delete them and download them.
I mean, you might be able to speak more on this than I can, but downloading a game to my PS5 is super quick.
Yeah, no, it took me, Miles Morales, when I was installing it for the first time, it took 20 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, Control is about a 50 gigabyte game, and that took about 10 minutes.
Yeah, that's nothing.
Wow.
that would have taken hours for the PS4.
Yeah.
So think about that. Or, for some people that would have taken an entire, night. You wouldn't have been able to play it at all.
Right. So, I clicked add library for Control and hit download. And then I was watching a YouTube music video and I finished it in 3 minutes and I looked back and it was only 12% done. And I'm like, all right, cool. So I guess I will play this tonight.
Yeah. And that's what's cool about these new systems, man. It's people complain about that, and I do agree that it would be nice to be able to put those PS5 games on an external drive or whatever, but it really isn't that big a deal like it used to be to have to download and reinstall. So,
yeah.
If this was PS4, Xbox One, I'd be like, heck yeah, we need that, because Lord, trying to reinstall something would make me just sometimes go, why am I even doing this right now?
Right. Yeah.
So going on to, well, first of all, we were talking about Sony. There's this, okay. I want to preface this by saying that it is an absolute, utter rumor. Don't come at me and yell and scream, why am I talking about this? It's just a rumor that is apparently going around of, Microsoft made an acquisition. This wouldn't be too out there if they did it, but there's talk of maybe Sony might buy From Software.
Well, Sony has a 2% stock or 2% interest in From Software. Maybe it's 1.97% ownership or something like that. I mean, I could see that happening, sure.
Yeah, I mean, I think it would be good, right? It'd be cool for Sony. Look, it wouldn't be good for people that want to play the next Dark Souls or Elden Ring or, whatever, depending on when it gets announced and if we hear any more about Elden Ring or.
Where is the new Armored Core?
Yeah.
Back when From Software was making good games.
At least, you can say what you want, but I think that still Dark Souls is huge, right? In the gaming and our sector, our niche that we're in.
Yeah.
But when you go outside to the broader gaming public, I think it wouldn't be as big a deal as Microsoft buying Bethesda. Or say if Sony were to buy Square Enix or something like that. That to me would be a bigger, oh damn, we don't need this. This is not good for gaming. Buying all these big publishers and then housing them to where, certain consoles can't play those games. Final Fantasy XVI may be that way anyway for a while because they have exclusivity for, a while. But I'm just saying, you don't really want that for everybody. You don't want to see a tit for tat going on in that way. But From Software would make sense for Sony, and it would be a way to bring in another studio acquisition, and it's one that there's a lot of fandom around it, which would help Sony. So
yeah.
And to keep the next Dark Souls or Elden Ring or whatever off an Xbox console.
Well, it's like Psychonauts 2, or I imagine, even if like tomorrow Sony bought From Software, like Elden Ring would still be on the Xbox, at least the first one. Second one, 3 or 4 years later, probably not, but that first one, yeah.
Yeah, because that probably has already got a deal, just like, the Ghostwire Tokyo and all that.
Yeah.
With the Bethesda buy. So,
right.
I mean, which they just had another Microsoft guy, I can't remember his name now, talk about how he doesn't believe that exclusives are the way that you're gonna sell consoles or really make it sales, and I'm just like,
why do you keep buying up studios then?
No, I think like the only reason he's saying that is because again the Bethesda deal's not done, so they can't talk about Bethesda as an exclusive studio until it is a complete purchase.
Right.
So they just have to keep being vague as to not ruffle people's feathers.
Yeah.
Right? And then when you completely have it in-house and you don't owe anything and you don't have to worry about anything, then you can come out and say, yep, this is not going to show up on a Sony console. So, and even if it doesn't, like, I think people need to just come to the realization that, again, you don't spend $7.5 billion to just have a bunch of games be first on Game Pass. I don't know, that doesn't make sense to me. It's like, I could see Microsoft doing a lot more of that, like trying to pay money to have more games be exclusive to Game Pass or come day one Game Pass and make you have to pay the $70 for Sony or $60 with PlayStation 5. But it's like, man, I can't imagine they're gonna buy like a bunch more studios, but who knows? Who knows? They do need to make sure that they get, the only way Game Pass is gonna work is you're gonna eventually have to be like Netflix. You're gonna have to have a big game come out like almost every month. Cause there's people that will only want to play the new stuff and they don't want to go and play the indie darling that came out along with like 5 old games. Like, let's be honest, that's a lot of what Game Pass is. So.
No offense to like Psychonauts 2, but that's going to drive Game Pass sales, unlike they say like, oh, Madden is exclusive to Game Pass or something like that.
Yeah, no, exactly. Like if now all of a sudden, Madden 22 comes out and it comes to Game Pass day one, that's going to get some people to buy Game Pass, so who knows?
Yeah.
We'll see. Speaking of making decisions here with games, Blizzard apparently is not having any other major titles released this year. I mean, look, COVID has done a lot of things to the entire world. This doesn't surprise me, I guess.
It's not, I wouldn't even blame COVID. It's just Blizzard does not operate on that type of schedule. So, of course.
Well, I mean, Diablo 4 doesn't surprise me at all. I mean, that's not like they've just had announcement. I mean, both of those games were felt like, well, they'll come out whenever they come out because we don't know.
Well, they were only announced like 2 years ago. I mean, so, Blizzard isn't a fast studio, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I do wonder if maybe they'll try to get Diablo Immortals to come out, to appease some people, but.
That'd be a bad decision on their part. It's fine for the South Koreans, but not for Americans, because we don't put up with mobile crap like that. Unlike people over there.
People that do though, and I think a lot of people would complain, but because it has Diablo in the name, they would at least download it and try it.
Yeah, but they wouldn't spend money on it, so that's the problem.
Yeah.
And I like the reviews for that thing are like, it's fine, but it's not anything special. And that's the thing, is Diablo is a special franchise, so if it's just like
it needs to be setting the bar every time it comes out. Not
if it's just like every other one of those like Diablo clones, essentially, then it's like, why would I play this as opposed to any one of those other ones? Or to hear Deckard Cain occasionally talk to me, that's not enough of an impulse for me to play it.
Yeah, I mean, it's.
But hey, you can play it on your new tablet, so you can give it a shot.
I guess, yeah, maybe. So I mean, that's the thing, is like, I don't think anybody should be surprised that you're not getting an Overwatch 2 or a Diablo 4.
Yeah.
2022, maybe. Let's see.
Yeah, I mean, the problem is Blizzard really doesn't have, they don't make new games. I mean, their last new games were like Hearthstone And that was a while ago.
Heroes of the Storm and...
I mean, that's already dead.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, Hearthstone was 2014, and Overwatch 1 was 2015, I think. 2016, sorry. And like, that was like the last new IPs. First one was like, I mean, Heroes of the Storm was older than that. So yeah, they don't make new franchises. They're going to keep iterating on what they have, like, over and over.
Yeah, I mean...
Make a, Justice League Task Force HD remaster.
Probably not. I think that's the thing too, is like, it's surprising to me that, I mean, the only thing is, what, Blizzard could do like a Lost Vikings?
Yeah, either that or Blackthorn.
Or something? Or Rock and Roll Racing, or...
Yeah, like, they're finally gonna put out that StarCraft Ghost game. It's already mostly done, they're just gonna finish it up and release it.
That would be actually weird. Like, all of a sudden...
I gotta put something out. Here's a 14-year-old action-adventure game that's not that good to begin with. Here you go.
I wonder why they don't try to do more stuff like that with their other characters that they've made a big deal about.
Yeah.
You know?
I think Blizzard is large, but they're a very stationary company. Like, they're not quick about games. And they have canceled a bunch of shit in their life. Like, you know, Titan was supposed to be their, like, new MMO, and that became Overwatch. So, yeah. Where's the Jimmy Raynor game? That's all I care about.
Maybe it'll happen. Who knows?
Yeah.
Probably not, but...
Damn it.
Yeah. And then also, coming off us talking about this last week with Vicarious Visions getting put into Blizzard, Activision, Blizzard also talked about wanting to do more remasters.
Yeah. I saw that and was very curious. Cause I was like, what do they have left?
You're not gonna remaster Guitar Hero, so.
Right. Oh, I mean, yeah.
I mean.
What, they're gonna remaster all the old Shrek games?
Definitely not. You're gonna be doing that, I don't think.
See, the problem is, like, you know, at least in the 90s and 2000s, they were primarily a licensed-based company. Like, they owned Spider-Man or they owned X-Men. They can't do that. I mean, it'd be cool, but they're not going to do that. Most of the old Call of Duties, people aren't going to care about. We're going to remaster Call of Duty 3. It's like, no.
Well, you know, I could see them doing that because, I mean, people bought the crap out of Call of Duty 2 and, that was the one that did the most recent.
You mean Modern Warfare 2?
Or Modern Warfare 2, yeah, sorry.
Yeah. Like, past Call of Duty Modern Warfare 1, that was 2007, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can't go back to the old Call of Duty games. That's just kind of a given. And, you know, they already did Crash, they already did Spyro, they already did Prototype. That's about all they got. I mean, I guess they could try to make a new Pitfall game, but that'd probably be bad.
Yeah, I mean...
Where's the HD remaster of Barnstorming? That's the question. They own that outright.
Yeah, I mean, like, I'm looking through here and, like, what they could remaster Singularity.
I mean, they could, but that's kind of recent enough, and that also wasn't like that wasn't like a popular game. Like, if they said, hey, we're bringing back Singularity, people would be like, what?
Like, alright, you know, that's a game you can bring back, right? I mean,
yeah.
Like, that's the thing, is like you said, is most of for the last 10 years, it's
20.
been, like, Skylanders and NASCAR and licenses that they no longer have, which wouldn't...
Like Shrek, Madagascar, True Crime,
well, they had Spider-Man, Transformers, the Ninja Turtles.
Yeah, and that's all stuff they don't own anymore. I mean, even like Doom 3 and Wolfenstein, they don't own that. So, obviously.
Yeah. I mean, so, like, what are you really going to... Unless you're gonna, like you said, go back to some of these, like, Atari games.
Yeah. And... The 1980s, ice hockey and Kaboom.
Like, I literally cannot, I'm looking through here, and then the problem is, too, you get to the point where they really didn't make that many games anymore.
Right.
So, you have nothing to go back and remaster. Unless you're gonna make deals with other companies just to put your name on it.
Yeah.
It's...
I mean, like, like they already did that prototype bundle, like, last generation, and they're going to redo it again.
Yeah, I mean, like, I'm sitting here looking at this, like, Tony Hawk was probably the last big one, unless they're going to do Tony Hawk, like, 3 and 4.
I mean, they should just do all, and they should, at a certain point, they should stop, but they should do at least 3, I could skip 4, and then just go to, like, Thug 1 and 2, and that's about it.
Why skip 4?
I remember it not being that good. I mean, they could do it, but, yeah. 4 was, like, 4 was a generational, or that came out, like, at the tail end of the generation, at least on, like, PS1. Okay. So they put it, like, they put it on a PS1. It's like, oh, why did you do this? Like,
I mean, like, the only other thing is, like, remastering that True Crime, and, yeah, I mean, everything else is a license.
Yeah. I don't know if they own True Crime. That's the funny thing.
So.
I mean, yeah, like, it's just a mess.
Yeah.
No,
I don't even.
Oh, go on.
No, go ahead.
They might own True Crime, actually. But they're like, those games were never good. Like,
I liked,
True Crime.
Streets of LA.
Yeah. The True Crime game everyone likes is, the one they didn't like, which is, that Square game. Oh, damn it. It was like the one that was supposed to be canceled. Sleeping Dogs, that was it.
Oh, Sleeping Dog, yeah.
That was supposed to be a True Crime game, but Activision was like, it looks bad, so we're just gonna cancel it, and then Square picked it up, and it was great.
And then sadly didn't get to get a sequel.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense, for them to say this when they really have, like, hardly anything they can remaster unless they're really are gonna go down the gambit of Tony Hawk games or like I said, remaster Guitar Hero somehow.
The one I was gonna say was Tenchu, but they don't even own that.
No, they don't own that, yeah. So.
Hey man, they own Vigilante 8. You can get another one of those.
Didn't they remaster that not so long ago?
Yeah, there was a 360 one they put out.
Okay. That's what it was. I was like,
remember car combat games?
I liked Vigilante 8. I played that with my friends a lot.
I like the other one. I like Road Trip a lot.
Okay, yeah, I played that too.
Yeah.
But, like, seriously, Activision, sometimes y'all just, that's the literal meaning of talking out of their ass. I don't think that they even knew what they were talking about when they're saying this. So, moving on. Prince of Persia also, the remake, speaking of, remaking things, they got delayed, to whenever it is that we will let you know.
When it's done.
Yeah. Which that's what you should do. I don't think you need to be that's what I honestly think people need to do from now on is you don't need to give me another, like, okay, if Returnal really it's just a little bit of polishing and whatever that comes out the next month, cool. But if it's something where you don't really know, don't get a release date. Just, it got delayed. And then when you know it's gonna come out, like, then announce it because it's bad. It makes you look bad if you keep putting out dates and then you don't hit them. Just put out an unidentified date and then, okay, cool. Then people get hyped again when you announce it because then you feel like, okay, you're really going to come out now.
Hey man, work is Cyberpunk.
Yeah, that's the one good thing to come out of the whole Cyberpunk fiasco is I think people are learning.
Yeah.
So, that's good. I mean, the release schedule keeps getting smaller and smaller for these big games, but, we kind of talked about it was going to happen.
Right.
So, this won't be the last one. Get ready. It's going to keep happening. Speaking of surprises, though, like, college football finally going to come back to EA.
Kind of. Yeah.
Well, they're ironing all this out, so we don't know how this is going to work. Remember the NCAA, if you don't know the history of why this went away, the NCAA got into a lawsuit with the players, or with an old player representing the players, and he won, and it paved the way for athletes could now, like, make money off their likeness. And also the NCAA would have to pay or do something to have the likeness of these players be put into a game that represents the NCAA. So, yeah, basically the NCAA was profiting off these players, but then not paying them. So, right now it doesn't have the NCAA name on it. Is the NCAA just not signing on because of that lawsuit? Is EA having to iron all this out? Is EA going to have to go into each individual conference and get a license for each individual conference, like they do with, say, like PES has to do with soccer, where
Right.
because EA owns the FIFA license, PES has to just get like individual teams or just individual leagues. So this will be interesting to see what EA has to wind up doing. Are there going to be certain conferences that get excluded, or they're going to want too much money? But it's like, that's the thing, like, can you even have a college football game without the Power 5? You know, so how's that all going to work? And this is going to be certainly interesting. I really like those college football games. They made them somewhat different than the Madden games, and of course having the recruiting and all that stuff made it feel like it was worth playing years and years out. So I hope that they can do that again. But yeah, I mean,
it's funny. I occasionally see NCAA football, like 2014, the last one, for sale, like in used game stores. It's like $100 for like $150.
Yeah, I mean, they'll put it on, like, on 360, they'll put it on sale, sometimes for what I think, like 30.
Yeah.
It doesn't ever go under 30.
Right.
Because they know it still sells. So.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, the players should get paid. I mean.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. The thing is, you don't really have to use cause they had a, team, like a roster editor thing.
Yeah.
That you could import rosters, so you could just have somebody else do that out of their own free time, and technically, you know, they can't say that they're profiting off them because somebody else created that. So.
Yeah, but also, like, that's one of the reasons they got sued back in the day, is because they were basically, you know, putting players and everything, like putting the exact stats of players, it's not like their names. But it's kind of the same thing like, you know, WWE goes through. Like, you know, the moment you buy a WWE game, it'll have 1,000 different wrestlers in it that aren't in the WWE for their character creator thing.
Yeah, but they also know that people are going to want to create them because they put their moves in there. Yeah,
but that's the same thing about these football. Like, you know, are you going to care about some, you know, football team that, it's the name of the team, but not the players? I mean, look at the old Blitz games for,
Well, I mean, like, that's the thing though, college football, it always was, okay, you have the numbers, but you don't have the players' names, like
right,
Madden, so.
But it was literally, like, the thing I saw short of it was like, oh, there's a player called RB with the exact stats of Reggie Bush. And it's like, gee, yeah. I wonder who they're referencing with this one.
Well, yeah, like, they were supposed to match those same players. They just had HB number 21 or QB number 2 or, you know, whatever.
Yeah, so. And it's like, just either pay them or, I mean, just, if you can't work this out, then I don't think the game should exist.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's something that they're going to have to figure out, but at least the Power 5 apparently already has that underway where they
or like
players
just pick like the top 20 college football teams out there and just say, hey, this is it. Like, you don't need.
I just don't, man, the way the EA does games, I just don't see that that's gonna fly. Like, they will have to do it the right way or just not do it at all. And I think you're eventually gonna just have it like the NFL, where you're gonna all sign a paper at the beginning of the year or a contract that says, okay, part of this contract says you're allowing your likeness to be used in this video game. And that's it. Like, they're not supposed to, but I think that's one of the things they're just gonna have to waive. Whether the NCAA puts their name on it or not, whether it's just gonna be called EA College Football with all these licenses, whatever they want to do. But, yeah, I think it's,
they need
to do that eventually.
I mean, I went to Western Michigan University. Believe me, they don't need my football team in that game.
No, I mean, I went to University of North Texas. They do decently in the they're in Conference USA now. But like, you need to have all of the SEC and Pac-12 and Big 12 and all that, or I don't think it's gonna work.
Yeah.
You know? So, it's just, you gotta make it work, EA. Gotta make it work. Speaking of EA though, what we discussed when the Codemasters deal was made was how quick would EA move to possibly really start trying to make Codemasters do something akin to what they're trying to do with Need for Speed, where they annualize games. So,
yep.
I mean, F1 already comes out annually, so that's not really anything.
Yeah, right.
New.
That's different. Yeah, but they're talking like Dirt or Grid or whatever the hell else they make.
Dirt, Grid, the Rally, Onrush. I mean, so. And they also did get the rights to the FIA World Rally Championship, which is the game you reviewed. So
I'm sure that's kind of a bummer for them.
And they acquired, because Codemasters had acquired Slightly Mad for Project Cars. So
yeah, my thing here is you already have enough developers to make annualized racing games. Like, it's just they're bad. Like, why didn't you work on making them better instead of just buying another company?
I don't know. Maybe so they can all work together and improve each other.
Like, think about, like, they own Criterion. Like, that's not a bad studio. I mean, or the Ghost games, they're kind of bad, but they're the ones who've been making the recent Need for Speed games, pretty much. Like, what the hell?
Yeah, I mean, that's what I wonder, is just like, are they bringing in all these other racing game studios to just be like, okay, can one of you guys figure out how to bring back Need for Speed? Can somebody figure, like...
The problem is, for, like, Need for Speed is, like, they kept trying to do this, like, online focused, like, world thing, and it always bombed, or, like, no one cared. Like, their last 3 or 4 Need for Speed games were like that. Like, Need for Speed this generation, like the PS4 and Xbox One, was basically disaster. Except for Hot Pursuit Remastered, And it's like, doesn't that tell you something about the way you're handling this franchise? And, like, no offense to Codemasters, but they don't want to, that's not their bag. So, EA forcing them to make some big city version of Dirt isn't going to be great. Or even, like, Project Cars. Like, Project Cars is a racing, pick a track, pick a car, race. Not, drive around the game world, find stuff for you to do. It's like, they don't do that. They don't want to do that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, EA bought them, they can make them do that.
Well, for a while, until the non-compete runs out, and they can go, screw you, we're gonna go back to Project, make another Project Cars and kickstart another Project Cars game. Mm-hmm. Even like Project Cars, like the first 2 were good, but that last one sucked ass. So.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is at that point. Like, they got all these freaking car racing game studios. Like.
Yeah, but
I could definitely see them annualizing something out of there aside from F1, but I just hope that it's...
I just don't think, like, Project Cars isn't an annualized franchise. It just can't, I don't think it really can be.
Yeah.
I don't see Dirt doing that, because again, it's not what,
if they alternate between, like, Dirt, Grid, World Rally, Project Cars, I mean, technically that's annualizing, it's just you're putting different names on them, right? Like, let's say you did the Activision thing for racing games.
Yeah, like having 3 Call of Duty franchise, or, basically studios, and they each doing one per 3 years. They could.
Will any of them really be a big deal? I don't know. Like, that's the thing is, these were not games that, like, set the world on fire. I mean, these were racing games that would come out and people would like them, and you go on about your business. It's not like Forza or when Gran Turismo mattered, or,
Yeah, even like Dirt 5, I mean, that came out last year, and, it did okay, but, no one remembers it now.
Well, it also came out at launch when there was other things, like, you had a freaking Assassin's Creed game come out with it. I mean, like, who's gonna be caring about Dirt when you got that? Dirt has to kind of come out in its own little area.
Yeah.
For a while and be the only thing for a little bit. So, yeah, I mean, I think that might be the only thing that, aside from F1, which will be its own deal, because you have to have that be.
Well, F1, I mean, F1 is basically Madden, or, FIFA. Like,
Well, they love that stuff. They love having annualized things, so.
The tracks don't change, like, really. The cars don't change that much. Like, yeah.
True. So, there you go, EA. Doing your thing.
Just don't screw it up that much, please.
Please don't do that. Don't mess that up. So, Sony sold a bunch of consoles. Go ahead, sorry.
Go on.
Yeah, Sony sold 4.5 million PS5s, as of December 31st, 2020.
Only 1 million got to customers, the rest of it's scalpers.
You ain't wrong, man. And they're still overcharging, and there's still people buying them, which is sad. It's like, dude, you don't need a PS5 that bad. Like, every game that's coming out right now is for PS4. It's like Demon's Souls, Astro's Playroom, and that's it, right?
I think
and
so.
Destruction All-Stars.
Yeah, but no one cares about that.
Yeah, like, so, I mean, Astro's Playroom is great, and so is Demon's Souls if you like that kind of game, but it's not that vital that you get a PS5 at this moment. Like, don't double pay for that. Same thing with the Series X. Everything that's coming out is for Xbox One.
Well, I occasionally have Facebook friends going like, "Oh, I need to get a PS5 for like my son," or something like that. My suggestion is always just go on Twitter and hope for the best.
Yeah, but even like I get it. I get you want to have the latest thing for your son or whatever, and I get you don't want to go and buy them a PS4 or whatever. But I don't know. Go get him a Switch. At that point, it's like right now you're overpaying for something that you don't know when the next big PS5 game, like PS5 only game, is going to come out that is going to be something your kids can play. Like that Returnal is not something kids can play. I mean, really, or you wouldn't think that they would. So yeah, I just don't, it is what it is, folks. But cool that Sony sold well, sold great numbers for the PS5. The games and network services generated like 8.4 billion in revenue and all that stuff, and increase year over year. So go with them. I mean, Nintendo had some great stuff as well. Microsoft had good things as well. So all good on the gaming front as far as sales go for the big three.
Yeah.
As you'd expect with what we've been through and are still going through. Speaking of the Switch, and speaking of EA, Apex Legends is finally hitting that Switch in March.
Woo!
March 9th. So if you've been waiting for some reason to play it on Switch only.
Sure it'll play great on there.
Yeah, I'm sure that there will be, especially with Panic Button, who's done a lot of the great, ports for the Switch. I'm sure it'll play well, and I'm sure there will be people that will play it for the first time, having only a Switch, but that's cool.
Yeah.
This was something from last week, but I forgot to talk about it, so it's just something funny.
It's an update to now this week.
Yeah, because Valve lost a patent jury trial, because of the Steam controller.
Yeah, Scuff sued him for basically the back triggers on that thing, which is kind of crazy. It goes to show that not everything works great remotely. They had to be giving evidence via Zoom. Apparently that didn't help things. But, it was like that they had a prototype of the Steam controller, which like, Steam doesn't even make that controller anymore, right? Yeah, that's the funny thing is the controller came out in 2016, I think. Or maybe 2014, one of the two. And it died in 2019. And it's like they just started suing them now. It's like, they did apparently warn them in 2014. Yeah. But it's like, didn't you ever go on Steam's website and see this? Or go to like a GameStop and see they were for sale? Like,
yeah, I mean, that's weird. Like, sometimes I wonder how that works. Like, why wait now? Like, when they're not even selling those controllers anymore, and they're not really making, you know.
Yeah, it's like, well, the whole, like, Steam controller, or, Steam hardware initiative crashed and burned. So,
Yeah.
this is like the final exclamation point on that, I guess. But it's still weird. Like, they just should have done this earlier when this thing was still on sale.
Yep. But hey, it is what it is, man.
Yeah.
So, yeah, weird for Valve, but they'll be alright.
Yeah.
They will be okay. Judgment is coming to PS5, Series X and S, and Stadia on April 23rd, 2021. No PC, and there is no plans for PC at the moment.
Yeah.
It is going to be budget priced at $39.99, which is nice. I almost bought it for $20 several times on that holiday sale. I kept saying I'm going to buy it and then not, because I was like, I bet they're going to come out with either it's going to go into Game Pass like all the other Yakuza games have, or they'll come up with a Series and PS5 version, and that's what they're doing here. And it has 60 FPS and faster loading times, and there is no cross-buy.
That's a bummer, at least
Or
for me.
free upgrade. So if you had it on PS4, apparently you do not get the free upgrade.
They also haven't, I don't think they said if saves will work, so that's an issue.
Yeah, that sucks too, but they are also doing that for Yakuza 7, so, or Yakuza Like a Dragon, where your save does not transfer over. Which, that sucks as well. I don't know why Sega's doing that.
I mean, that's honestly, I bought Yakuza Like a Dragon like 2 or 3 months ago. That's like the biggest reason I've been playing it, is if I start playing it now, I don't know if the save is going to work on the new version, on the PS5 version.
Yeah, no, I agree with you there. Like, you don't want to wait. That's a big game to be like, lose your save halfway through or whatever.
Yeah. Or, it's like, do you want to keep playing the old, quote unquote, old version, or do you want to restart on the new one? So, no, I want to start playing, like, play it on the new one. Like, that's one issue with Control is the save system, it doesn't work, or it has no cross save. I'm playing that game from the start again.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great game. You could play it.
Sure, but I mean, I was very deep in that game on the PS4, so we were playing it again. I mean, it's nice to kind of, see the story again, kind of, but like, I already did most of this shit on that one. Like,
that's true. But, what do you think about the whole no PC version? You being a PC.
I mean, I guess. I mean, I think it'll eventually come over, because look at...
But it's just weird, like, you just put out that Yakuza Remastered collection, and put a PC version, and put it in Game Pass and everything, but you're gonna come out with Judgment, and it's not on PC. Like, do you think Google might have paid to keep it off PC for Stadia, or?
No, I really doubt that. I think it might be, like, a weird issue with that. Maybe, like, because Judgment is running off the Yakuza 6 engine, I think. I don't know if Yakuza 0 is off that one as well, but it may be, like, some weird issue with that. Because Yakuza 6 isn't on PC either. Yet, at least.
Okay.
So, I mean, they may have to, like, do some, like, weird finagling to get it to run on that thing. I think
that one's coming later in March.
Yeah, like March. Yeah. But I think it'll eventually come. It seems to take time.
Maybe they're waiting to see if the console versions sell well.
Yeah. Sega, like, it's weird that Sega, it could be a lot greedier than they are, at least when it comes to ports and stuff like that. So, if they don't want to be, I guess that's fine. But, people still want, like, Persona 5 is not on Switch or PC.
And it's weird because they just came out and said, we're gonna put more games on PC. You did that with Yakuza, you did it with Persona 4, and then not Judgment.
And, like, Persona 4 did well. It sold 1 million copies. It's like, shouldn't that tell you something? Like, I mean, it couldn't be that. I mean, Persona 5 is different because it's a more complex game, but it couldn't have been that hard to port Persona 4 to PC. Like, they just had
No, they just, like, up-res the Vita.
Yeah, they had, like, a Vita emulator, and that was about it. Like, that's not super hard. So it's like, get out your asses and do it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know about all that, but, like, it's weird. It's definitely weird that you choose not to do PC when you've been doing PC now.
and claim to want to be doing more.
Well, something that was sort of surprising that came out as well was the Nintendo, apparently remember that live action Legend of Zelda that we had talked about?
Yeah.
And that Star Fox might get a Netflix show. And according to Adam Conover, he's the one that does that Adam Knows stuff, right? Okay. So he was actually supposed to work on the Star Fox show before Nintendo just stopped talking to them, and then realized that, and then he said that apparently Nintendo was not happy with the fact that rumors are getting out about these shows, so they just said, fuck it, screw it, we're not talking to Netflix at all. They don't know how to keep things under wraps.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I can kind of see it, but I think it's Nintendo being very Japanese about leaks, and it's just really dumb.
Yeah, like, especially in the entertainment world, like, everything gets leaked. Like, It's like, games, there's some that, like, just have really bad luck, like Assassin's Creed, and there's some that you can keep hidden or whatever, but it's like, with movies and TV shows and stuff, like, that stuff always, it comes out.
Right.
So, I get it that they want to keep their stuff close to the vest. They don't want all that stuff just getting out there. But man, they're also like probably like one of the few companies that can just be like, yeah, we just decided not to do that. And you don't hear people complaining about it.
It's the same thing. Like, they got super burned in that Mario Brothers movie. So that's why.
Yeah, but they're doing another Mario Brothers movie right now.
Yeah, but not live action.
Yeah.
I mean, CGI is one thing, but they're not going to, they obviously can't get Bob Hoskins back, but they're not going to make, another live action Mario.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to do that, but.
I mean, like a live action Zelda might be fine. I think the problem with like Zelda is just like there's not a ton of characterization with Link, because he's pretty much a silent character. But Zelda could work. Metroid could be a really cool show if they wanted to do that.
Metroid would be awesome if they could have done that.
And then Ice Climbers, of course.
That's quick. I could see them doing a Splatoon, like, anime or something.
Yeah. Again, like, they're another company that, like, believe me, they have poured out Mario quite nicely over the years, but they haven't completely devalued all of their characters. Like, or, put Mario in, like, everything they could ever think of. It's, unlike, Sega and with Sonic, for example, which we can get onto next, but, like, they still have a reverence for Mario, at least in some respects.
Yeah, gaming-wise, he's been in anything you could think of.
Right.
But when it comes to other media, no. And, I mean, to be fair, anything that Mario has Mario's name on it, it sells ridiculous numbers. So,
yeah.
Like, of course you want to do that. Right? I mean, and they keep showing why Nintendo does not do these deals on their games where they do these sale prices that are crazy.
Yeah, like the lowest price in a Nintendo game is like $40.
And 30 on Black Friday or Christmas time. That's it. So, and those are those rare times. Other than that.
Yeah, exactly.
Deal with it. So yeah, I just think it's interesting that, like, you don't get this, like, backlash of, oh, why are you not, what happened? Nintendo, why are you not making it? Like, people just like, whatever.
Well, they get backlash about, like, Smash Brothers and dumb crap like that. It's like, they own it. Leave them alone. If you want to.
Right?
It's like, if you want to play, going to play a Smash Brothers tournament, do it by their rules. And if not, hey, when you get sued by Nintendo, don't act all surprised by it.
Yeah, and just a note on Nintendo as well, the Animal Crossing sold ridiculous numbers of like 31.18 million copies.
Yeah.
It's like, it has now tripled the cumulative sales of Animal Crossing New Leaf.
Right, yeah.
Which is insane. And then also, it's like apparently like almost 40% of Nintendo Switch owners own Animal Crossing. I mean, I own it. I have not played it at all. It was for Naya, and then she didn't.
Me, and Jens own it.
Yep. So, no. And that's the thing is like, I mean, Nintendo, that was another thing that came out this week as well, is that like, Nintendo basically, their whole idea, and you had to do this in Animal Crossing because you couldn't, you were very limited with your island even if you had multiple, profiles.
Yeah.
Right? So, like, whoever has the main profile, you have to do certain things on the island before the others can actually do them. So it made a lot of people have to buy another Switch.
Yep.
Smart Nintendo there. And now that's, what they said was one of their targets was, we're gonna try to go after getting multiple Switches in one home. And all that. And not to mention the sales numbers to make it to where it's like, and people keep talking about that Switch Pro. Like, but they don't need the Switch Pro now. They're doing fine.
What a, consumer-centric company. We're gonna intentionally cripple the game. So if you want to own 2 islands on that Switch, you have to go buy another console and another copy of the game. They should pack every other copy of Animal Crossing with a piece of paper that says, "Hey, do you feel you just got screwed?" Well, you did.
Yeah, but people seem to not care. That it's like, okay, whatever. I guess I got to get my own Switch and my own.
I mean, if I had a girlfriend or a wife, and she was like, or someone who wanted to play my Animal Crossing, I'm like, all right, go ahead. Like, I'll delete my profile, no problem, or my island, no problem.
I mean, but if you're both big fans of that game, then I understand.
Yeah, then you're screwed. Right. Yeah, it's like, well, that's Nintendo giving you the big white middle finger.
I mean, that was I watched that entire conversation about the Giant Bomb top 10 of 2020, and that was Jeff Gerstmann's entire thing was, I have a problem with Animal Crossing because of their terrible online.
Yeah, that was also bad.
And terrible purchasing, decisions. But it is, that's Nintendo, man. And don't put it past them either to just release the Switch Pro because it's basically just another SKU. It's, okay, well, if somebody wants the Switch Pro, now they'll just pass on their Switch to the next person in line that also plays games, and guess what? Then you're gonna have to buy games for that Switch.
Yeah.
So, either way, Nintendo wins. So, it doesn't matter. That being said, Sonic also, as Mark mentioned, gets a lot of different, shows. Last week we talked about Craig Smith leaving as Sonic, and then the rest of the cast, basically.
Yeah, they left this week, except for, the guy who plays Robotnik, so far at least.
Well, he might get replaceable. I mean, why not? If you're gonna do a whole new show and get a whole new cast and everything, then why not? Right.
That's the thing. If people, I'm somewhat friendly with the actress who plays Amy Rose. I think Cindy Robinson is her name. Mm-hmm. She's good, or she's cool, but she's not only known for Amy Rose. Just like Roger Craig Smith isn't only known for Sonic. They've done other roles, and they're good at other roles. And I see a lot of people going oh, we grew up with these characters. We grew up hearing, these people playing these characters. It's like, okay, I grew up listening to Sonic being voiced by Urkel from Family Matters. I didn't shed a tear when he left or when he got fired.
Yeah, I mean, people have to realize, eventually people are gonna, I'd rather that person step away and then not. I think it's less of a hurt this way than it is if that was the only voice that character ever had. They died.
Yeah.
At 80, and then you're going, oh man, nobody's ever gonna sound like him or her. I don't remember her name, but one of the characters in Adventure Time. It was an elder lady that did her voice. The elephant. He played an elephant. Okay.
Never saw the show, so.
Yeah, but she was an older lady and there was people upset about it. It's either way you slice it.
Yeah.
We're all gonna lose our favorite, whatever. Who was it? Was it Mickey? That Mickey passed? Right? That was your voice that, yeah.
Wayne Wayne Allwine or something like that. He was Mickey for a while.
Yeah.
And he was ironically married to the actress playing, Minnie Mouse. Yeah, Wayne Allwine, that was his name. He died a few years ago, I think. Or 10 years ago, or 12 years ago. But people get other roles. It's fine. Even if you even if the voice really well, it's it's still changes.
Right, yeah.
I think the other piece of news is Netflix is making a new Sonic show called Sonic Prime, which I really hope crosses over into Metroid. But, obviously, with this new show, I mean, of course they're going to make a new voice cast. Like,
Yeah.
even if the old cast is good, like, it's not to take away from them, but like,
it also saves them money.
Well, I mean, I imagine they'll probably try to get like bigger stars or like more recognizable voices for these characters.
Yeah, I mean that could be true too. Yeah.
Well, look at like DuckTales, like the reboot of DuckTales. Like, you don't know who the original Scrooge McDuck is, but like in this one, it's David Tennant, and he does a really good job.
Mm-hmm.
Or like the voices of the nephews. I mean, I think in the original show it was like all one person.
Yeah.
But in this one, they have 3 different actors, and they all do different voices, or they're distinct enough that you can tell they're different actors. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and that's part of the reason why like people really wanted, it to continue,
right?
Because of the voice cast.
Well, I thought it was a really good show, so yeah.
Yeah, that too. But as we're announcing, HBO is probably going to do a movie on the GameStop stock thing.
Yeah, everything is now trying to.
What the hell, man? Like that happened. Okay.
For the Sonic show, the only thing, it would be funny if they get Ben Schwartz for Sonic, but I would find it really hilarious if they got Aubrey Plaza for like Amy Rose.
I wonder if they could get Jim Carrey to do Robotnik.
If it's a voice actor role, why not? I mean, he doesn't have to show up, or he doesn't have to like.
He can do it from home, right?
Yeah, he could just call him from Skype, like a good Skype line or something.
Yeah, I mean, Netflix, has that money. They like to do that too.
I think he has done voice acting before, but not in anything like recognizable.
Yeah.
He did like I think he did like one of the Lemony Snicket games or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
But
also, I'm thinking he used to have like there are 2 cartoons based on his old movies, like The Mask and Ace Ventura. He didn't do the voices for those, but that was also probably when he was a lot busier, so that's probably why.
Oh yeah, definitely. That was when he was in demand all the time.
Yeah.
So I don't blame him, but I mean now he could do it if the price is right or
right.
So hopefully he could. That'd be cool to just have the whole movie cast.
Yeah.
As there is the animated actors, but Netflix does like to do that. They like to have a lot more high profile actors come in. So we'll see. And this was also kind of just announced recently. Stephen Totilo is leaving Kotaku. He's Kotaku's editor-in-chief, and he says he's going to still be doing games and still in journalism. Just he's going to reveal that later. He's going to take a break for a little while and go on vacation. Dude deserves it. He's he makes a joke about finishing Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Yeah, and you would know very well.
Yep,
about that. And yeah, he's going to start his new thing. I mean, man, he was with Kotaku for almost 12 years, and then he became the editor-in-chief in 2012. So, man, that's a long time to be there.
Yeah,
and
he's obviously pretty good. I mean, I have issues with Kotaku, but he's a pretty good editor, pretty good,
Yeah, and I loved his piece that just came out recently about, like, he talked about reviews and the whole embargo thing and why NDAs get signed and all that stuff. That was a really good read. People should go check that out.
Yeah.
So, yeah, for sure. And before we get out of here, WandaVision, up to episode 5 now.
Yep.
Spoilers. So if you don't want to listen to anything about WandaVision, haven't watched it or waiting for all the episodes to come out, whatever it is your thing. It is weird, right? That like, okay. So, may as well you can cut off the show now because this is basically the last thing we're going to do. And, well, I already basically mentioned the games that are coming out this week. It's Lanimers 2 and Super Mario 3D World, which, I mean, everybody's getting that pretty much, right? So, I'm excited for that. And that's Super Mario 3D World and Bowser's Fury, by the way. And yeah, then you're waiting until Persona 5 Strikers comes out, but.
Yep.
But, yeah, honestly, WandaVision is, interesting here. They had the 3 episodes that were the sitcoms. Then they had like the behind the scenes. This was happening on the other side while that was going on. And then you get to find out things. And then you get to find out more things, with episode 5. How are you liking the week by week thing? Did you want it just all to just come out, or are you liking the?
I want it all out. I'm impatient, and I just wanted to get it done as soon as possible.
I mean, I think this is good because there's such a hype cycle for this show. It is weird that it comes out at midnight. Like,
yeah, well, midnight Pacific time.
Yeah, I mean, like 3 a.m. Eastern time. Not necessarily great because by the time you wake up in the morning, you're getting stuff spoiled for you. So, yeah. I don't know. Maybe Disney needs to come up with like put it in prime time or something, or in the afternoon, or I don't know. Do something, Disney. It's better than that. But I don't know. They obviously, I feel like they have to do this because it's basically the way to stretch out the fact that they don't have a lot of content.
Well, yeah, it's like just like what Amazon does, or Hulu, or yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to take a while for Disney to get to the point where they could even do the whole put all the episodes out because they have more stuff to put out, but right now they don't. So
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, what do you think of the show so far?
It's good, except for like the last episode. It was the most obvious fucking thing in the world that happened, and Pietro showing up from the X-Men, or Evan Peters. I mean, they literally announced the casting of him 8 months ago, you idiots. Like, didn't you realize who he was going to be?
No, I mean, it's so cool that he's, I guess they I like the fact that they had Kat Dennings be like, they recast Pietro?
Yeah. I mean, I guess my big theory is, I get the impression that Agnes is supposed to be, I think her name is Agatha Harkness. She's like a Avengers character.
Yeah.
She's like Scarlet Witch's like mentor, in the comics, like old comics. And I get the feeling that like Dottie is like the evil one.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised, yeah, the way that she's already kind of that way. And
right.
Yeah, I just like the fact that
I could have sworn.
Go ahead, sorry.
I was gonna say, I could have sworn there were kids in the second episode when they did that, like, magic show. Or I thought there were, like, little Girl Scouts or something like that. But maybe I'm wrong. I have to rewatch that, but.
No, I don't think so. I think that's the whole point. It was, like, for the kids, but there wasn't any kids there.
Okay. I'm probably wrong.
Yeah. No, I mean, I liked Vision's diatribe, like, at the end, where he's just like, man, let's stop controlling me. Like, I thought the way they did all that was pretty interesting, leading up to, like, where he puts the internet on the old computer, and then he starts reading the boss's mind or whatever.
Yeah.
And finding out that she's controlling the whole town, but she won't admit it.
Also, that director guy's, obviously evil.
Oh yeah, no doubt. No doubt that he is, obviously, I mean, like, I like, the, Monica Rambeau.
Yeah.
I thought she does a really good job. Let's see what happens after this. Cool that they're gonna get into 90s sitcoms, I guess, next. After the 80s.
You have to wonder what that's gonna be, if it's gonna be like the opening to Friends or Seinfeld or something.
Or is it like early 90s, like Family Matters and that kind of thing?
Step by Step.
Yeah, Step by Step, Full House. And which one are they gonna go for?
Yeah. I like the theme song to this one when it was like a marriage between Growing Pains and, or Growing Pains and the other one. Oh, what is it?
Family Ties?
Growing Pains, yeah, Family Ties, that was the other one. Because they did the painted landscapes, but they did a painting in a Family Ties. They did like the old pictures from Growing Pains, including like Vision as a baby. That was pretty cute.
Yeah. Like, I think that they've, like, so far just, it was kind of slow, I will admit, like, especially those, like, first 2 episodes, I was kind of, like, going, okay, we're going a little bit, it's going, and then they did a really good job after that. I thought it's, like, in a good groove now, and then it was, you could say it's obvious, but it was a good twist. I feel like they're setting up for some good stuff with, like, the mystery, and And looks like we're gonna have a lot of stuff based on the blip for a while. So
Right.
get ready for that, everybody.
Yep.
Anything else you've been enjoying about the show, or?
And it's good music, I think, or decent music.
I mean, all the theme songs have been good. I like Vision's like old computer workplace.
Yeah.
Reminds me of like those old shows. They did a good job.
Oh yeah.
With that too. So yeah, I'm interested to see how they eventually like break it to Vision about what's happening.
Right.
And that he can't really leave because he's not alive, so.
Who knows, maybe it is.
Yeah.
Maybe they brought him back, or she brought him back somehow. Who knows?
I mean, but they did that shot of like showing him where he's dead, and she's like,
yeah,
can't
but
deal
I mean,
with it. Yeah.
if she's getting more and more powerful, then why not? Or who knows, maybe she could bring in like a Vision.
I love
from
how
another...
fast the kids grow too. Like, holy crap.
Yeah.
Does that stop eventually? Like when they get to 18, they eventually just go day by day, or what's gonna?
Well, I mean, the kids are from the comics also, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah, well, definitely. But I mean, I do feel like Vision and or Elizabeth Olsen and Paul Bettany are just.
Oh yeah, they're really great.
They're great. They have really like made that show something.
Yeah.
I mean, it's good. It's good that they're setting the bar high, because I don't know if the Winter Soldier and Falcon show is gonna be as good. So
I think it'll be fine. I mean,
you think
they have good chemistry.
It'll be just as good?
Yeah.
Okay.
I like the two interacting together because, I mean, they respect each other, but they just don't like each other that much.
Yeah.
So I think it'll be kind of an odd couple type of situation, or, like a buddy cop situation.
Yeah, that'll be fun to see.
I think Don Cheadle said he's going to pop up, or someone said, or, they announced him as.
He better show up, at some point.
Yeah. So,
I mean,
I thought it was funny. I think it was Kevin Feige said, like, oh, I don't think we'll ever see like a Spider-Man or a Marvel in Star Wars crossover. It's like, no fucking shit, you won't.
Like, no, they won't. What was she talking about? Disney is, oh my god, if there is one company that is super about, no, this stays in that world and that's it. Like,
yeah,
dude, they wouldn't even let them do it in a video game.
Right.
So, good God, that was so dumb. Like, I was like, man, they would have destroyed Skylanders and everything else if you could cross over. But they never did it
That's what, the fourth one is going to be, because there's video of that one. Like, the one that didn't come out, they got canceled, but it was literally, like, the Hulk running around in, like, Aladdin. Like,
oh, really? Cool. Finally they were going to do that?
Yeah, it was
they got
story.
Desperate, I guess?
Yeah, that was going to be, like, the story. It was like, yeah, Aladdin, or, like, yeah, it was, like, the Hulk, like, bouncing around on, like, rooftop and shit like that. It's like, oh, it only took you 3 games, huh?
You should have done with the third one. And or even the second one, you would have done, like, great. So.
Although, I guess look at Disney, or Lego, the Lego one. I mean, they did that, and that didn't sell, so.
Yeah, but I feel like there's just something about, like, those Disney properties doing that, I think.
Yeah.
With Marvel and Star Wars, I mean. So.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so, I mean, at least there's some big games coming that I'm sure a lot of people will be playing, and then we'll get to another week in video games with that Valentine's Day coming up for people as well. But alright, until then, thank you for listening. If you like what you heard and you listened to the whole thing, I appreciate it. You can go hit subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. I am going to be talking to someone about guesting maybe for next week. We'll see. And yeah, I mean, if you have someone that you feel like would be a good fit for the show, or just that you would want to hear us talk to, drop us a line at WTM Humanity Plague, at W2 Network on Gmail, if you want to do it by the old email, and let us know. I'm slowly getting into that where I feel like I could talk to people about, hey, you want to be on our show? Can't pay you, but it'd be cool just to have a guest to talk about gaming that's not, the regular crew all the time. So,
yeah.
But yeah, I appreciate everybody that listens. We'll see y'all next week.
Later.